Yo, what up guys? Alright, so let's try again. So in this video we're gonna work on trying to retrieve the notes that the user has created. So there's a number of things that we need to do. I'm gonna have to close a couple of things. So firstly we need to revisit our API first. So if you remember, the last thing we did was we can create a note and store it within the database, but we haven't created anything where we can, or we haven't set it up so that we can retrieve any notes and so forth. So that's the first thing we're gonna do. So I'm gonna come right above where it says create note, then I'm gonna create a get method within here. I'm gonna name the URL get user notes. You know what, let me do this. Okay, so here we're gonna say okay, so remember in a previous video we set up a what you call it, a class where we can extract the user's notes, the user ID from the token. So that's what we're gonna also add up over here as well. So the first thing I need to do is I'm gonna have to add that HTTP servlet request here, right? And then remember we have to pull that method here. So we're gonna say int user ID. So the notes, we are gonna get them or retrieve them using what you call it, the user's ID. So that's what we need to do. So we're gonna say extract user ID from token. What did I name that class again? Get user token. Okay. Wait, how did I do this? Oh yeah, apologies, I forgot that I actually added it at the top. User ID equals to extract user ID from token, right? And then add that request. So sorry for that, I actually forgot that I added that class over here. So all we have to do is just actually call it. Alright, so that's gonna be the ID, right? So here we're gonna check okay, that won't work. Right, first let's do this. Let's create the repository to get the ID, the notes. So we're gonna say and then obviously here we're gonna get it by param, and then obviously it's gonna be user ID. So if you remember in the database when a user creates notes, we add the note ID, and then obviously we attach the user's ID also as well. So we're gonna get the notes via the user's ID. Alright, so that's what I'm adding here, int user ID. So now let's add the query. So we're gonna say add query, and then we're gonna put that placeholder there. And then here we're going to say native query true. Alright, so remember we're getting a list of nodes, right? Now we need to go to the nodes service class, and then we have to add that. Okay, so that's the service. So now we have to come back here, and then we have to get that that user's notes via ID. So we're going to say node service dot user nodes. Alright, so let's quickly test this. So obviously the user has to send in the request header, they have to send in the token. Then we're going to extract that here, and then we're going to get the user's nodes over here. Let's see. So here we're going to say list. Alright, so I have to stop this, and then we're gonna go and create the user nodes. So I'm gonna let's wait for it to stop, and then we're gonna open Postman for now, and then let's see. Just gonna duplicate this. Alright, so here we're going to change it to a get method, and then we're going to have to change that URI as well. What did I do here? And then I'm going to rename this. So when we last logged in, when we were testing earlier on, we had this particular token there. So I have to copy this and then see if you can retrieve the tokens, I mean the nodes, right? So we're gonna come back, I think, yeah, get nodes. We're gonna go to authorization and then paste our token here. Hopefully it hasn't expired, otherwise we have to log in again. Alright, so I've pasted that token that we have here, that we were testing with earlier on. So then we're gonna use it, we're gonna use this very same one to get the user's nodes. So let's see, is the application, so we need to run it now. Okay, so the application is now up and running. Let me see if we can get anything here. So I'm gonna click send, and then let's see if we get anything. Okay, so there seems to be an issue. Let's see. Okay, I'm not seeing why it's refusing. API. Let me try again. Okay, so there we have our nodes. Alright, so I don't know why it didn't want to work the first time, but so as you can see, we have about 2 nodes there. Alright, so as you can see, we can retrieve nodes using this API. I mean the current URI that we just created. So now what we're going to do is we are going to then now implement this request into the what you call it, the mobile app, which is, where is it now, which is within our main activity over here. Alright, so let's see, I don't know if, okay, let me try it in this video. So first we're gonna do this public void get user nodes. Alright, okay, so we're basically gonna do the exact same thing that we did when we were logging in. So we're gonna create, but this time we're gonna create a JSON array to get or to retrieve the nodes themselves. Alright, so 1 second. So we're gonna say JSON array request, right, and then this is gonna equal to, let me put this on a different line. Alright, so obviously the request method is gonna be get. Alright, then we have to create that URI. So let's come back here to our API link. I'm just gonna copy this and then change it. So this is gonna be get user nodes, and then obviously we have to change this URI here. So the current URI is nodes and then get user nodes. Okay, so here we can come back and say API link helper dot get user nodes. Then the next section is going to be null, and then we're going to say new response listener. Alright, so we have that there. Then I have to add the new response error. So again, this one is going to give us the error, and then the other one is going to give us the response. Okay, so here we're gonna put a toast message here. So this is gonna be from the main activity, not this, and then the message will be failed to get notes. Length long, and then dot show. Alright, so that's it for the error message. Now remember, we have to send the token, right? You have to send the token to to the API, otherwise we won't get anything in response. So now just 1 second, I want to see. Apologies for that, my phone was ringing. Alright, so where were we? Okay, first let me add some comments here. Okay, and then this one is going to be okay. So I first want to instantiate the preferences, so I'm going to say okay, so preferences will equal to then mode private. Right, so remember we're instantiating this one here. Okay, now so what else do we need to do? Okay, so the progress bar, right? We're going to set the visibility to gone. Yeah. So remember, when we are done retrieving the what you call it, the nodes from the API, we want this to no longer show. So that's where this is where we're going to do it. All right, and then here we're going to set the recycler view dot set visibility, right? And then that's going to be view dot visible. So remember, currently it isn't showing at the moment. So the idea is that while the nodes are being retrieved, it shouldn't even show anything there on the page. Otherwise, it's just going to look weird. So here, if we do get a successful response, we're obviously setting it to visible. The progress bar is going to be set to gone, and then now we can proceed with getting the nodes. So here we're going to loop through the nodes, and we're going to use a for loop for that. All right, so we're going to say for then we're going to say I++. All right, look, I know I'm well aware that there's easier ways to map objects in this day and age when it comes to Java, but I'm just going to keep it the traditional way of doing it, and then which is using a for loop. All right, so let's see, I'm gonna have to add a try block here. Okay, so here we're gonna put in another JSON exception. Okay, so now we're gonna say JSON object, and then we're gonna equal that to response dot get JSON object. Then we're gonna put I there. Alright, so we're gonna add this I over here, so it's continuously gonna add all these objects onto this JSON object here. Alright, so let's do this now. So we're gonna say notes right. If I'm not mistaken, I think here we need to add a constructor within our nodes. Do we? Let me just see. Okay, so right within our nodes model here, we're going to add a constructor. Okay, so now we're going to say response Alright, so just bear in mind the naming here of that we were getting is the same one as this one's here, so we have to make them the same. Alright, so I'm gonna copy, no, actually I have to put, I'm gonna copy this here. Alright, so the main three things that we need is the title, body, and node ID. Right, so here we can just say title, and in this one we can say body. That's it, right? Yeah, we don't need the user ID for the time being. Alright, so why is this giving an error? One second. Okay, so I think this needs to be get string. Sorry, apologies for that. Alright, okay, so now that we've done this, the next thing we need to do now is proceed with adding this particular note to our list. So remember, up here we have a node list, right? We're gonna need this when we're adding it to the adapter. So we're gonna say node list, right? And then we're gonna say dot add, and then we're gonna add that whole object. Alright, so that's for the try catch block. We're not gonna do anything, but we can just add a toast message here, and then you can just say something went wrong. Alright, let's see. So now after the loop, I think it ends here. We then now have to add this to the adapter. So adapter, right, will equal to new note, right? Then we can say node list, right? And then main activity dot this. So our constructor for the node list recycler, remember it requires the list of nodes, and then also the context, which is the class that we are in currently, which is this one. All right, now to the recycler view we need to add the adapter. So we're going to say recycler view and then dot set adapter. Then we add that adapter, and that's pretty much it. Okay, let me see what else we need. Okay, so the one last thing we need in this on response error is, let's see, we can just print the error. Actually we don't need to. So progress bar, we're gonna set to visibility view, right? So basically here, even if we don't get the nodes, we don't have to keep displaying the progress bar. We just gonna set it to what you call it, to not visible. So remember, this is gonna make the request once, and then once it's done, if you can't retrieve anything, it's over for it. It's done. We're done with trying to pull anything. There's no need for us to show anything. So the other one is this. So if you remember, we still had this text view, so we can use it like this. Right, we can say something like there are no nodes to display. We can set the size to 25. I think that should be fine. And then I want to add some padding here. The padding will be 20 dp. It should be fine. Okay, so this one, right, this is by default the visibility is going to be gone. So let's copy this and then let's go up here. Let's just add it down here, text view, and then we can hook it up down here. Right, so down here on the error message side we can do this: no nodes to display dot set visibility view dot visible. Right, so by default it doesn't show the text message, but once we get nothing from the nodes themselves, it will show this text, and then the progress bar as well will be gone. Okay, so let's see what else do we need. All right, so the one last thing we need now is to add the response headers, or the headers. So remember, we need to send the token as well. So what we need to do now is we just need to come right before this closing parentheses here, right? And then we're gonna say here we're gonna put in get headers, right? If you type that, IntelliJ should pick it up. Right, so now we're gonna say string, and then token is gonna equal to preferences dot get string. So remember, we named it token. All right, if there's nothing, by default we're gonna just return an empty string. All right, then here we're gonna say map then we're gonna call this headers equals to okay. So headers dot put. So this is gonna be authorization, and then we're gonna say bearer space, and then from there we're gonna say plus token. So we're gonna concatenate whatever value we stored within this token value, and then concatenate it to this. So this is what the API will be expecting. The authorization header, we need to clean that up. This is the authorization header, and then it will contain this value as a whole. The other thing we can put here is, let's say, headers content type, and then this we can say application. So this is how you would have to add headers within a volley library object like this one. Okay, so what else? Here we can return headers. I think that's pretty much it. And then the last thing we need to do here, we can say request queue dot add, and then we're going to add the JSON array request. Okay, so now that we're done with this, we need to call this method. Let's see, I think we have to call it within the onCreate method, which is up here. Let me put this at the top. Okay, so this is it. Alright, so hopefully we've done everything correctly. I hope we did everything correctly. So remember, this is an array, and then in this array there's a list of objects. So if we've done everything correctly, we should be able to display the notes within our app. So currently this is what it's displaying. This is gonna change now, sorry. So let's apply the changes. For me, it's gonna probably give an error because I probably need to reinstall the app, but that's what I'm gonna do now. So I'm gonna pause the video, and then we can check out and see if we did everything the right way. One moment for me, please. Alright guys, so the app is crashing. If I were to show you at the moment, if I were to click on my application, it's gonna load up, but then it's gonna end up crashing again. So clearly there's something that I didn't do right. What I want to do is, for the next few moments, I want to pause the video and then check where I went wrong, and then I'll explain everything afterwards. Again, one moment for me, please. Alright guys, I'm back. Okay, so I think my mistake is here. I didn't instantiate all these values here, and so we're busy calling them within our method over here, but they are not even instantiated. I think that's what the problem is. So what I want to do is I want to add all of them and then take it from there. So the recycler view, let's see. Alright, so what do we need here? So we need to let me see. Okay, let's start with the progress bar. did I name this? Get progress bar. Okay. Okay, and then recycle a view. Let's see, what did I name this? Note list recycle a view. Okay, and then what else? Might as well just add the create button. Create note. What did I name this? Create note btn. Right, and then the other one will be, let me just add it up here. No nodes to display equals to right. Okay, I think that's pretty much it. I'm hoping this was the problem. I'm hoping everything else is okay. I'm hoping that this was the problem. I forgot to initiate all these elements here, and then whenever you call them, whenever you run the application, the view is gonna look for them, and then if it doesn't find them and you're calling them anywhere else, like for example here we added the adapter but we didn't instantiate any of this. So because we just did this here, I'm hoping that was the problem. So I'm gonna run it again, then pause the video, and then once we come back we're just gonna look and see if everything is in order. Again, one moment for me please. Okay, still failing, but I think I know why. So the request queue, right, the request queue also needs to be instantiated. So my singleton dot get instance, what did I name the other thing? Okay, login dot request queue. Okay, so here we're gonna say main activity dot this, and then dot get request queue. So I was checking here, and when I checked, it's giving me that it was failing somewhere here, and then because we're calling it up here, it wasn't working because we didn't instantiate this. Again, I'm hoping this was also the issue. So I'm gonna stop it again, run the application, and let's see this time around. Alright, so I think I fixed it, but we still have an issue. So I'm gonna close this application again. Alright, rerun it. So there are no nodes to display, so we failed to get nodes. Alright, so that means that now the problem is somewhere else. At least now the view is opening, which means now this is trying to get the nodes, but then there's an issue somewhere. Now I have to check what that is. Alright guys, so I'm getting an 403 error. So what I'm assuming is happening here is that the token that is stored within our application is probably expired. What I probably need to do is log out this user, clear the information, and then from there on try again to log in and then get notes. So that means now we need to go to the profile page, right, and then from here we're gonna try and log out this user. So what we need to do is at the top here we've got preferences. Okay, so I'm gonna create a method here. Right, so here we're gonna say public void log user out. So this one is gonna let's see, let me see. Right, public so this method is gonna clear the preferences. So we're gonna say shared preferences dot editor, right? So here we say editor dot clear, and then we're gonna say editor dot apply, right? That's gonna clear the preferences out. Okay, here we're gonna say clear preferences. We're gonna call that method we just made now, and then here we need to go to the login page. So public void go to login, and we say intent right. Then we're gonna say start activity intent finish. Right, so here we're gonna first start off by clearing the preferences. After that we're gonna go to the login page. Alright, then we can even leave a toast message here. We can say toast okay. So let's see. So we need to hook the button now. Did we hook it? I don't think we did. Let's give it an ID. Okay, let me change this. And I'm gonna say logout btn. Why is it giving this issue now? Okay. here we're gonna call out that log user out. Nope, log user. What did I name this? Log user out. For some reason my IntelliSense is not working, but it's fine. So we've hooked that up. So I'm gonna again apply the changes, install the app, and then we're gonna log out the user, then re-log in again to see if it will allow us to retrieve the nodes using the refreshed, the new token. I'm gonna pause the video while it loads up. One moment for me, please. Alright, so the application is up and running again. Let me just show it on the screen. Alright, let me just close it and open it again. Okay, so I'm gonna go to the profile page, then I'm gonna click log out. Then we've logged out successfully. Then I'm gonna close it and see if it really did log out. It should take us to the login screen directly. Okay, so let's try again. Jane Doe. Okay, let's try to sign in. There are no notes to display. Okay, so looks like it wasn't an issue with the token. So let's see what's missing here. I'm just gonna open the logcat just to see what's happening. Okay, one moment again for me. Alright guys, I'm back. Okay, number one, I'm not quite sure what the actual issue was with the URI. So I even went as far as to changing it just to see that I was actually trying to access the correct route, right? So I even changed it here within the API to notes just to make it simple to see what actually was going on. So for some reason it didn't want to pick up the you see, remember we created this helper class here, and then all we had to do was just concatenate the rest of the URI to the base URL. As you can see here, it worked over here with no issues, but for some reason here it doesn't want to work. So when I was testing on the Postman as well, I tested it here, it works just fine. I'm able to receive the notes, and then I even changed that URI from get user notes to notes here as well. It works fine. I even tested with the API instead of localhost like you would see on those other tabs over there. So now I don't know why, for some reason it didn't want to work, but what I did was basically just wrote out that whole URI here and then added it here to the JSON object. So I basically removed the API helper link class that we created here and just added it here. For some reason now it adds it's able to go and access the URI. So initially I'm not sure if those errors are still showing here. Let me just see. So it was giving me a 403 what you call it, error message. I don't think it's there anymore. Okay, it's not there anymore. So it was giving me a 403 error message, which didn't make sense because I am able to access the token. So what I did was I did a couple of tests where I logged the token itself, so I was able to see it here within the logcat and stuff. But for some reason, it just wasn't allowing me to access that resource for some reason. But in any case, all I did was change that and just wrote out the URI right within the method itself, get user notes, and then just added it here. right after where we state what the actual get method is, or the request method is. So I just added that there. Alright, so second thing is this. I forgot to instantiate. So as you see, it loops through the object and then it adds it, and then you have to add it to the nodes, right? So the other thing I forgot to add when we were doing this initially was instantiate the node list as well. Again, another amateur mistake that I made. The third thing that we need to add is these two settings here. So here we're configuring the recycler view. Recycler view. So we need to add these two as well. Otherwise, the particular nodes won't show within the application. All right. So those are the main three things. For some reason that was prohibiting this application from working. So I've already have it up and running. Let's just go back from the profile page. Okay, so as you can see, the two nodes are showing. So every time, let's say I'm gonna go back to the profile page, then I'm gonna go back. As you can see, it now loads the particular nodes, um, that the user has. So if I show you again from the database, let me just refresh this. Okay, so as you can see, the user has 3 nodes. I just added this particular one just a few moments ago when I was testing. So now we have 3 nodes that are displaying on the user's dashboard. So yeah, man, again, for some reason the URI wasn't working from how I initially set it up, where we have to call this app we statically have to call this method over here and then just concatenate whatever resource we're trying to access to the main URL. But for some reason it didn't want to work, and then when I type it out here, now all of a sudden it works. So I don't know, that's for some reason that's the way it wants to work now. But yeah, just make those slight changes. Over here I was trying to test and see if we were getting a response. We were. Initially when it was giving me errors, it was showing the response here within the logcat. I don't know if it's there. Oh, it is there. As you can see, it's basically I did a system.out.println out.println just to see if there was anything. So I just converted it to a string, and then we are getting a response back. So don't forget, with the node list, instantiate it within the create within this create on create method over here. Make sure you do that, because up here we're just initially setting it up, but it's basically null. If you don't do this, it's just gonna give you a null object, and trying to invoke a null object and such whatever. So look, this video is already long enough, so I'm gonna end it here. But as you can see, at least now we are able to retrieve the nodes from the user. So now the other thing I want to work on is creating nodes, which means that we're gonna work on this button, and then we're gonna then create an activity to create the nodes form, the form where we're gonna add the nodes. And then we're basically just gonna do the exact same thing, where we're gonna call this VOLLEY objects and then create the node from the mobile app itself. Alright guys, so alright, I'm a bit tired now, so I'm gonna end the video here. Again, apologies, I failed in trying to make a shorter video. It's already long. So again, thanks to those of you who who stayed up until this point. I appreciate the support. Thank you again, and I'll see you guys within the next video. Cheers for now.